jealous sister ruined my relationship by convincing my ex that I was cheating on him. Years later, I found out she was cheating on her BF, so I did the same and told him everything. I am new on Reddit and I am only here today to ask for some advice. My sister, Jasmine, has always seemed to dislike me for as long as I can remember. This animosity began back when we were just kids. You see, Jasmine believes that because she is pretty, she is superior to me since I look more like our dad and I am not conventionally attractive. From a young age, I did notice how people would gravitate towards Jasmine, showering her with compliments about her looks. Family gatherings were filled with remarks about how beautiful she was, how she looked like a little princess, and how lucky she was to have inherited our mom's features. Meanwhile, I was often overlooked in these conversations. Unlike her, I was a late bloomer, so I didn't get as many compliments while growing up. The focus on Jasmine's appearance made me feel invisible at times, however I was never jealous of her. It wasn't until Jasmine herself started making cruel comments about my appearance that I started to resent her. Jasmine would often make offhand remarks about how I was the nerdy one while she was the pretty one in our family. At first, I didn't think much of it, but as time went on, her comments became even more pointed and hurtful. She would laugh and say things like, "Well, at least I don't have to rely on my grades to get attention from people," or "Too bad you didn't inherit mom's good looks and blonde hair." These comments from her would cut deep, especially during my awkward teenage years when I was already struggling with self-esteem issues. I remember one specific incident where she embarrassed me knowingly in front of everyone. We were at a family reunion, and one of our aunts was gushing over how stunning Jasmine looked in her dress. The aunt then turned to me and said, "You must be so proud of your sister, she's so beautiful." Jasmine smirked and replied, "Yeah, my sister's got the brains, but I got the looks, so I am sure she is proud of me." Everyone laughed thinking it was just a silly little joke, but I felt a pang of hurt and embarrassment. It was as if my entire worth was reduced to just my academic achievements. Even at school, Jasmine's beauty made her popular and well liked. She was the girl everyone wanted to be friends with or date. I, on the other hand, was the quiet, studious one, known more for my grades than for my presence. It created a divide between us, one that Jasmine seemed to relish. She always enjoyed reminding me of our differences, almost as if it reinforced her sense of superiority. Her constant reminders of my ugliness made me very hyper-aware of my appearance, leading to years of insecurity and self-doubt that I sometimes still struggle with. I often found myself comparing my looks to hers, wondering why I couldn't be as effortlessly attractive. Her unkindness affected my self-image in profound ways. However, this wasn't the only thing she did to me. Looking back, she also bullied me in other ways to make me feel inferior to her. For example, on my 6th birthday, I was really excited because it was the first time I had invited my friends over to our place for a party. My parents had decorated the house, and I had a beautiful cake. As my friends and I gathered around to play games, Jasmine, who was 8 at the time, decided to take the spotlight. She interrupted our game of musical chairs by loudly proclaiming that we were being too loud and that it was embarrassing for me and my friends to still play musical chairs at our age. Mom asked her to calm down and took her aside to talk. I thought Jasmine would stop with her antics after that, and the rest of the party went on without any more incident. Later, after the party, when I was opening my presents given to me by my family and friends, I discovered that I had been given the latest Barbie dollhouse. It even had a miniature kitchen and a makeup set. I was beyond thrilled about this since I loved playing with Barbie, but my happiness was short-lived. Jasmine started to complain to my mom that it wasn't fair I had been given such an expensive gift when she didn't get one on her birthday. She complained that she wanted to play with the dollhouse too. I argued back, pointing out that my friends had pooled their money to buy this dollhouse for me, so she had no right to take it away and that she could probably wait for her birthday next year for our parents to give her one. But Jasmine kept yelling at Mom, demanding that either I share my Barbie set with her or that Mom had to get her a new one to play with immediately. In the end, Mom made me compromise. I was forced to share my beloved Barbie dollhouse with Jasmine on a few days of the week so she could play with it as well. I was beyond infuriated. It felt so unfair that, even on my special day, I couldn't have something to myself. In middle school, I finally got a chance to be the lead in the school play, something I had worked so hard for. Jasmine, being 2 grades ahead, had already been the star in school events and was not happy that I had bagged the role. The night of my performance, instead of supporting me, she continuously made snide comments about how I would never be as good as she was on stage and how I was maybe going to end up breaking my leg out of nervousness. I could see she was trying to get into my head, so I didn't let her words affect me and went on to give my 100% on stage. After the play, when everyone was congratulating me, she loudly criticized my performance, pointing out every little mistake she thought I made and saying how I needed to work harder if I wanted to outshine her. Her words stung, turning what should have been a proud moment into one filled with self-doubt and sadness. My parents later reprimanded her on our drive back home for not letting me have the spotlight for one evening. During high school, I saved up money from my part-time job to buy a dress for my upcoming prom. I found the most beautiful dress I could have ever dreamed of. It was beautiful and elegant, and I could not wait to wear it. Jasmine, who had already graduated, saw the dress and decided she wanted to wear it to a party before my prom. She told me that since my prom was weeks away, I should let her wear it for one night only. Despite my repeated refusal, she took it anyway without informing me. The next day, she returned my prom dress with a large stain that couldn't be removed. I started yelling at her furiously, seeing the state of my dress, and told her that she had no right to wear my dress and spoil it. However, Jasmine, instead of apologizing to me like a sane person would, told me that it was just a dress and that I should stop being such a baby about it. Later, when my dad found out about what Jasmine had done to my dress, he bought me another dress. Although it wasn't as pretty as the one I had bought, it was still a sweet gesture from him, and I appreciated that. After high school, when I got accepted into my dream college, my parents and I were overjoyed since I would be the first person in my entire family to go to such a prestigious university. The news spread quickly, and all my distant family members were calling to congratulate me. It felt wonderful to have everyone's support and excitement. However, Jasmine didn't even call me once. Later, when Mom was talking to her on the phone, I overheard her telling Mom that I had probably gotten in because the college needed some diversity and I was probably their safe choice. I was taken aback hearing this, since it was not only offensive but also completely untrue. Fortunately, Mom also felt the same and immediately scolded Jasmine for saying something like that. She defended me, reminding Jasmine that I had been one of the top students my entire life and that any university would be lucky to have me. Mom went on to tell Jasmine that she should never say what she just told her in front of me, and that if she didn't have anything good to say about me, she should learn to keep her mouth shut. This, of course, made Jasmine angry. I could hear her yelling back at Mom, complaining that I was always the favored child and that she was tired of my achievements always overshadowing hers. I just shook my head when I heard Jasmine complaining like that. I knew how much our parents had worked hard to give both of us everything we wanted, yet Jasmine always found a way to pretend to be a victim. Her resentment towards me always persisted. Throughout my adult life, whenever I got a job or a career promotion, I could never talk about it freely in front of Jasmine, as she would find a way to diminish my accomplishments. She would make snide remarks to me that maybe my promotion had more to do with my luck than my hard work, and that being so career-driven as a woman wouldn't get me anywhere in life. Yet, I was the one earning 3 times her salary, while she would sometimes have to borrow money from our parents and even be unable to even pay them back. Even in adulthood, Jasmine would not stop commenting about my looks even after I had asked her to stop multiple times. Whenever we would go out together, she would joke about how I should be grateful to be seen with her in public because she could make anyone look good by comparison. If I ever wore a prettier dress than hers, she would tell me how I should just give her my dress, since I could not do proper justice to it and that the dress would look much better on her body. As you can imagine, these experiences with my sister have left lasting scars, shaping my relationship with her and reinforcing the sense that, in her eyes, I would never measure up to her. Her unkindness has been a constant shadow, impacting my self-esteem and our sibling bond. Hence, I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised when Jasmine was jealous of my relationship with my ex-boyfriend, Kevin. Kevin was tall, attractive, and easy to get along with. He was my first real boyfriend as an adult, and I really liked him. The first time my parents and sister met him, they were quite taken with him. My parents were happy to see me with someone who seemed kind and genuine. They welcomed him warmly and made him feel at home. As we all sat in the living room, chatting and getting to know Kevin, Jasmine suddenly interrupted the conversation. With a sly smile, she asked him, "Kevin, why is such an attractive guy like you dating someone like my sister?" Her tone was light, but the intent was clear. She wanted to embarrass me, to make me feel small and unworthy. My heart sank, and I could feel my face turning red with humiliation. Kevin, however, didn't miss a beat. He looked Jasmine straight in the eye and told her how he found me incredibly attractive and down to earth, unlike some of the women he had crossed paths with in the past. He went on to say that what really fascinated him about me was my intelligence and kindness, and according to him, that is what made me so different. His response was calm and genuine, and I could see my parents' nod of approval. Jasmine's expression faltered upon hearing his reply. She wasn't expecting him to defend me so well. For the rest of the evening, she watched us closely, her eyes following our every move. I could feel her scrutiny, the way she seemed to be looking for any flaw, any reason to validate her jealousy and disdain. It made me uneasy, but I tried to ignore it and enjoy the time with my family and Kevin. Later that night, when everyone was getting ready to leave, I went into the kitchen to grab some leftovers to send home with Kevin. Jasmine followed me in, and I could feel the tension immediately. She waited until we were alone, then leaned in and said, "You should never date attractive guys. They'll only end up cheating on you. Mark my words, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak." Her words were like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just the content of what she said, but the way she said it, with such certainty and a hint of malicious satisfaction. I could feel my anger rising. This was supposed to be a happy occasion, a chance to introduce Kevin to my family, and she was trying to ruin it as usual. I took a deep breath and replied, "Jasmine, that's none of your business. Your opinion was not asked for, and frankly, it's not welcome. I'm happy with Kevin, and I trust him. You don't get to undermine my relationship just because you're jealous of my hot boyfriend." Jasmine looked taken aback for a moment, but then her face hardened. She muttered something under her breath and stormed out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there, shaking with a mix of anger and frustration. Later, she told our mom about how I embarrassed her by not taking her advice and that as my sister, she was only trying to warn me. I decided after that meeting that I didn't want Jasmine anywhere near Kevin. I was worried that her jealousy and resentment could potentially sabotage our relationship. However, looking back, I realized my biggest mistake was not fully disclosing to Kevin the extent of my relationship with Jasmine. While he knew she was jealous of me, he didn't know about all the times she had tried to undermine me or steal my spotlight out of pure spite. In hindsight, keeping this information from Kevin allowed Jasmine to successfully manipulate him. Just to give the entire picture, I've had two best friends since college, Nina and Clint. Clint is gay, but before he came out of the closet, he had dated women and was still friendly with some of his exes. I've always been open about my friends, with whoever I dated, including Kevin. He never had any issue with Clint. However, one night after a late party with my friends, I returned home to find Kevin waiting for me, looking angry. He had a key to my place and had let himself in. His demeanor caught me off guard. Excited to see him, I went to hug him, but he pushed me away. Confused, I wondered if the smell of alcohol was bothering him and quickly apologized. However, he shook his head and asked me if I was out with Clint. I told him that I was out with both Clint and Nina just like I had informed him about before I went out with my friends that evening. He then impatiently asked me if I was sleeping with Clint. I was taken aback, wide-eyed, and incredulous. I asked him what he meant, needing clarification, and Kevin repeated his question, accusingly. I reassured him firmly that no, I wasn't sleeping with Clint or anyone else. I couldn't understand why he would suddenly ask me something like that out of nowhere. He then opened his phone and showed me a series of pictures that Jasmine had sent him over social media. Apparently, my sister had been at the same bar at the same time where me and my friends were hanging out. It struck me odd that she hadn't even bothered to come say hello to me yet had somehow taken secret pictures of me and my friends. As I zoomed in on the photos, I saw shots of me, Clint, and Nina laughing, hugging, dancing, and just enjoying ourselves like everyone else in the club. Kevin explained that Jasmine had sent him these pictures along with information about Clint's past relationships with women, which I had conveniently never mentioned to him. He asked me directly if it was true that Clint had dated women before his current boyfriend. I confirmed that it was indeed true but clarified that Clint had dated those women because he grew up in a conservative family and was scared to come out as gay initially. Kevin shook his head, clearly troubled by what he saw in the pictures. He expressed doubts, saying there was no guarantee that Clint was 100% gay even now, especially seeing how comfortable Clint seemed with me and how he had his arms around me in the photos. I was stunned by Kevin's sudden accusations and asked him why he would jump to such conclusions out of nowhere. This is when Kevin told me that Jasmine and he had been friends on social media for a while, and she had been telling him stories of my past about how I supposedly had a history of cheating on my exes. According to him, he had never believed her until she sent him those pictures that night. My mouth hung open in disbelief as I struggled to process what he was saying. I asked him why he hadn't told me about his conversations with my sister sooner. Kevin tried to justify it, saying they were just harmless chats initiated by Jasmine in the first place and that because she was my family, he just wanted to be polite to her. He claimed that he never believed any of her words until now when he found out that Clint had dated women, which meant my best friend and I could potentially have something going on behind everybody's back since the both of us spent so much time together. I almost wanted to puke when I heard Kevin say this, as Clint was like my family and I could never dream of doing anything inappropriate with him ever. I couldn't hold back my tears as I insisted that I had never cheated on anyone in my entire life. It was true, Elle had never had many relationships and the ones I did have often ended with me being the one betrayed or sometimes the relationship simply fizzling out. However, Kevin seemed unwilling to believe me. Amidst my tears and explanations, I began to realize that I had done nothing wrong in this situation. I knew Clint and I were just friends and I had never cheated on Kevin. If he could trust my sister's words over mine, how could I ever trust him to be my partner for life? I stopped begging and apologizing and instead asked him to leave my house immediately. Kevin appeared taken aback by my sudden change in demeanor. He questioned whether this meant I had truly been cheating on him with Clint. Feeling a mix of frustration and hurt, I firmly reiterated that Clint was gay and that I had never cheated on anyone in my entire life. Yet, I also made it clear to him that I wasn't going to spend the rest of the night defending myself when he clearly had already made up his mind to blame me, no matter what. Long story short, it was a painful breakup. Kevin continued to hurl hurtful accusations and blamed me for everything, but I remained firm in my decision to break up. I am glad I never stayed with him because I know I deserve to be with someone who trusts me completely. However, I never forgave my sister for what she did. The next day, I decided to confide in our parents about everything Jasmine had done behind my back to sabotage my one-year relationship with Kevin. For the first time, I told them that if they continued to favor Jasmine over me, I would stop talking to them altogether. Thankfully, my parents were just as fed up with Jasmine as I was. They were appalled by her manipulation of my ex-boyfriend and her attempts to disrupt my life. Not only did they scold her severely, but they also decided to cut off all contact with my sister when she refused to accept her mistakes and did not want to apologize to me. They made it clear to Jasmine that they were ashamed of her actions as my older sister and that they could not let her anywhere near them if she was capable of doing such backstabbing to her own family members. Since then, neither I nor my parents have been in touch with Jasmine. Despite her attempts to reach out, my parents have remained true to their word and maintained their distance from her. Although I know my parents not talking to Jasmine is punishment enough for her, I still wanted to ruin her life just the way she had ruined mine. Over the past 3 years, I've been keeping tabs on Jasmine through our mutual friends. I've learned that she's been dating an older guy named Sam for the past few months, who is a divorcee from a really wealthy family. It seems he can provide her with the luxurious lifestyle she's always desired but could never afford on her own. However, it's clear that she's with him just for the money. I recently discovered from 1 or 2 mutual friends that we both share that my sister has been having an affair with her masseuse, whom she visits weekly. This information is quite well known among the ladies, as this is a small town, so it wasn't really that difficult for me to find out. 2 weeks ago, I heard from the same mutual friends that Jasmine had been pressuring her boyfriend to propose to her. Sam, who had recently gone through a divorce, felt it was too soon for such a commitment. However, apparently Jasmine persisted, insisting that they were meant to be and was expressing her desire to start a family soon due to her biological clock ticking. Upon hearing this, I knew it wouldn't be long before she had manipulated Sam to give in to her demands. I decided that it was time for me to inform Sam about what he was potentially getting into before he made any permanent decision. I did not have his contact number and I could not find him on either Instagram or Facebook. Then, it struck me that he might be on LinkedIn. This is how I have found his email address from his LinkedIn profile, and I intend to send him a detailed email explaining how Jasmine has been involved in an affair with her masseuse and why he needs to know her past before marrying her. If I tell my sister's boyfriend the truth, which could potentially ruin her relationship the same way she ruined mine? Update 1. Okay, I knew when I posted my story, it would be controversial, but I was not expecting such polarizing views. While some of you agree that it is the right decision to warn Sam since he might be potentially heading into another bad marriage, the other half of you believe I am just being nasty to my sister for no reason. To those people, I would like to ask this question: if your partner was ever cheating on you, would you not like to know about their affair? Would you want to remain in the dark about their indiscretion? Would you want to get engaged to them when they are cheating on you behind your back? If your answer is that you would like to know the truth, then Sam also deserves to know the truth. Yes, I clearly hold a grudge against my sister and I have tried to work on the issue in other ways, but I want her to feel what she made me feel. She has always backstabbed me and never once apologized to me. I have never ruined her life or sabotaged her in any way, even after everything she has done to me. I will simply be telling Sam the truth. Whether he chooses to forgive her and decides to marry her or leave her is ultimately his call to make. Update 2. So, it's been 2 weeks since I last updated anything, so here it goes. Last week, I sent out an email to Sam. In the email, I clearly stated that Jasmine had been sleeping with her masseuse, including his name and the massage parlor she frequented. I urged him to investigate and also explained how my family and I had cut off contact with Jasmine because of her manipulative behavior in the past. I made it clear that my intention behind this email was simply to warn him so that he wouldn't be caught off guard. After I sent the email, several days passed without me hearing anything back from Sam. I couldn't shake off the worry that maybe he hadn't received it or maybe he didn't believe what I had shared. Then, unexpectedly, I received a response from him today. Sam began his email by expressing sincere gratitude for reaching out to him with the information. It turns out he had been finally convinced enough to propose to Jasmine and had even bought her a ring to propose to her that very day when he received the email from me. Fortunately, after reading my email, he decided to take some time and investigate the matter himself. He decided to follow Jasmine around for a few days, and this is how today, he was able to catch her red-handed with a masseuse at a hotel room. He told me that he had broken things off with her immediately. She had pleaded with him, telling him how it was just a one-time mistake, but he had informed her that I had already told him the truth about her affair, which had been going on for months. Sam emphasized how thankful he was to me that I had alerted him about the reality of his situation. He included his contact number and encouraged me to call him, wanting to discuss the matter more comfortably over the phone. When I called Sam, he was courteous to me. He opened up about Jasmine's multiple lies, not just about her affair but also about her family situation. Apparently, Jasmine had been fabricating stories to Sam throughout their relationship, portraying our family as abusive to justify why she had severed ties with us when in reality it was the other way around. I told Sam that he didn't even know half of the things that Jasmine was capable of and that he should consider himself very lucky that she had let him go so easily, since she was usually very vengeful. Overall, Sam and I had a nice chat and I wished him the very best for his future. After this, I had a feeling it wouldn't take long before Jasmine would either show up at my house or call me. Sure enough, about an hour later, I heard the doorbell ringing and loud banging on my door. I wasn't surprised to find Jasmine there, yelling insistently that we needed to talk about what I had done to her. Instead of opening the door, I used my door camera's two-way speaker system to ask her what she wanted. Jasmine's anger was palpable as she demanded to be let in, accusing me of being a coward for keeping her outside. I stood my ground, responding firmly that she was the real coward in this situation. I pointed out that she had been dishonest by having an affair and now couldn't face the consequences on her own. This response silenced her, and she appeared embarrassed, starting to cry. She demanded that I speak to Sam and try to fix things between them since she could have gotten engaged to him if I had not interfered. I calmly informed her that I was already well aware of her situation because Sam and I had spoken about it. Upon hearing this, Jasmine's anger flared even more. She asked me if I was planning to date Sam and questioned if I was stooping so low as to deliberately hurt her by going after her man. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of her accusation. I assured her that I had no interest in pursuing someone she was interested in, and Sam was no longer her man anyway. I reminded her that I was simply doing what she had done to me years ago with Kevin. Hearing my words, Jasmine erupted into yelling, insisting that I still had no right to do this. I stood firm, telling her that she couldn't really blame me for still holding a grudge against her and that she deserved every bit of pain she felt since I had gone through the same thing too. Jasmine continued to yell at me, some more, her voice filled with anger and frustration. Despite her loud protests, I remained resolute in my stance, refusing to let her in. In the end, seeing that I wasn't going to yield, Jasmine left, grumbling angrily to herself. Update 3, Hey everyone. I have informed my parents about what I did to Jasmine. They reprimanded me when they found out everything and told me that I needed to forgive my past and stop being in this weird power struggle with my sister forever as it would only ruin my mental health. After our conversation, I do agree with them. Hence, I've decided to let go of any hard feelings toward Jasmine. I think we're even now, and I no longer want to waste energy hating her. That's all.
Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for more videos like this. Until we meet again.